This is Swords to Podcast, and I promise my voice gets better as the episode goes on. Welcome back to Swords to Podcast. My name is Thomas.
My name is Adam. Thomas is in a really bad mood because he was working very late last night. So we're gonna try to get through these Marvel spoilers with relatively little of Thomas exerting his voice. But yeah, so we have Marvel superhero spoilers. We've got 4 that kind of the community is talking about, or we got 3 that the community is talking about. 1 that Thomas just decided to throw on there so that he could have a 6th pick instead of only having 5, and then he's got 6, and then I've got 5. So we got a bunch of cards to talk about. Some pretty interesting ones, some pretty cool ones, some kind of bad ones. We'll just get into this, shall we?
Yeah, you want to start with your first one?
My first one. Are we gonna do the hotly debated ones?
I feel like the hotly debated ones are going to be... Yeah, no, let's do the good ones first. Let's start with those.
All right. Well, I don't know if these are all good, but the first one that's on here, and this is one that I really want to talk about, so I'm glad that you grabbed this one and pulled it in first, is the Serpent Society. 1 generic, 1 black, and a green for a 3/4 legendary human snake villain with death touch and ward get 5 poison counters. And whenever another creature you control with death touch dies, each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature of their choice. This card's absurd. First off, 3 mana, 3/4 with death touch. Already really good stat line. In the command zone, this is going to be an issue. Swinging at people and everything. And it's just a really, really good blocker with death touch. And whenever another creature you control with death touch dies, each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature of their choice. I think this is a stronger commander than Finn the Fangbearer, simply because Finn obviously gives all your death touch creatures the ability to give poison counters, and that's really strong, but this just neuters your opponent's boards. Most of these death touch creatures are just 1/1s. You just paid 1 mana for, and you sacrifice them later, and you can make rats with death touch, you can make insects with death touch, you can make so many tokens with death touch, and effectively with a cheap 3 mana commander, you can just your opponents just don't get to have creatures, basically. And then let's just talk about that ward. Hot take, I think in the R&D office in Wizards of the Coast in LA or wherever they are, they're in the board meeting and they pitched this with a normal ward ability, right? And oh, well, do we want to give it ward? It seems really strong. And then someone pipes up in the back and is like, hey, what if we gave all the players at the table a way to concede without conceding? They can just target the commander twice and lose the game and not paying the ward cost. So you can take yourself out of the game by not paying this ward cost. And that's what I think it is. No one, oh my God, dude, this card is a problem. I think this is the best card in the set that I've seen in the command zone, or at least the most oppressive one.
I wonder if that's something that we'll start seeing as people are going to, bully people off of this commander by conceding in that way. That would be kind of funny.
I think it's absolutely going to happen. I think that's going to happen more times than not.
It's this is you wanted this. So what are you complaining about that your games are just over in 2 turns? This is what you wanted. You're winning. It doesn't make sense to me personally. It doesn't make sense to me why they go and print stuff like this and think it's a good idea at this mana cost with these 3 lines of text that just keep getting worse. They just keep getting worse.
And what I don't get is, so this is another Final Fantasy set where the whole set is just legendary creatures. I don't even want to know what percentage of the spoiled cards have been legendary creatures. It seems basically 4 out of 5 that I ended up picking were creatures, and all the ones that we have in the ones between us, the 4 that we have, those are all creatures. They're all legendary creatures. So in a set like this where there's so many different options, it seems odd to me that you need to push one so hard to get commander players interested when there already are going to be tons of not necessarily broken, but just decent and exciting legends that you could build around. I don't know why they felt the need to make one this pushed.
The last thing I want to say too is being in Golgari, doing a lot of graveyard stuff. It's just ridiculous that your game plan can just be sacrificing your own creatures just to wipe people's boards. It's just stupid, bro.
Yeah, 3 mana is too little for this. This should be 5.
And it's only a rare. I find that kind of crazy.
Oh yeah.
How good this is?
Yeah, that's interesting.
All right, you want to go to the next one? I need you to read all
Yeah.
these ones.
Yeah.
Just go ahead.
Our next one up is Nick Fury, Agent of Shield. This is one white mana for a 2/1 legendary human spy hero. So this is like our shill. Oh, if you want to build 5 color and you want to build all in this set because you're a big Marvel guy and you're getting into Magic because of it, this is the commander. He's got the power up ability, which is one white, one blue, one black, one red, one green, or Wooburg. Put two +1/+1 counters on Nick Fury, then look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may put a hero, equipment, or vehicle card from among them onto the battlefield. If it's a double faced card, you may transform it. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So, power up, you only activate the ability once.
Like forever, I
Yeah,
think.
period. And I think if he comes down that turn, you reduce it by his mana cost.
Yes.
So not really notable, but like 5 mana or to get a free hero equipment or vehicle. It's interesting. I don't. I mean, I know why people are talking about it. Like it's gonna be the de facto commander. Comes down turn one, enable stuff. I mean, I've been hearing some rumors and stuff from you. Just 5 color. I think is this the first 1 mana 5 color commander we have?
Yeah.
So this, I mean, this is would this just become the de facto 5 color turbo CEDH commander? I
I
think.
mean,
Is it?
that's what people are wondering. The only issue is that there's no win con really staple to this thing, like at all. I mean, the ability is somewhat relevant, but not really. So the only reason that you would be getting into this is for you're obviously not doing pure Rograk things, being that Rograk is 0 mana, but still you can get this down on turn one basically every single game and gives you access to all those free things that want you to have a creature, or if you really need to do the sacrifice things, whether that's like rituals or whichever ones you need to sacrifice a creature to. I don't think this is really going to be as good as people are thinking, like in practice, but it is kind of interesting, and we'll see how it actually turns out because it is definitely going to be the fastest 5 color commander we've seen.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, I mean, 1 mana is infinitely more expensive than 0 mana, but Rograk is really powerful.
He knows now. You want to just talk? I mean, you might as well talk about it.
Oh
You
yeah,
alluded
so
to it.
yeah, well, so I got to play in a tournament this weekend that was it was the Pride tournament. So every legendary creature has partner, and I only realized that I was attending the morning of, so I decided to build Plague on Rograk. I basically copied Eli's list from my Plague on Discord, and then I made my own edits to it and just ran Turbo Plague on with breach lines, and it was really gross. Won games incredibly fast and was really oppressive. So I get it. Now I know why Rogsai is a deck. I'm a believer now.
Red is good. Red's a good color. I like it.
Move on, Thanos.
Yeah, it's another 5 color commander. Go ahead.
Yeah. So our next one is Thanos the Mad Titan. So he is a Mardu or a red, a white, and a black for a 4/4 legendary eternal villain. He's a 4/4 with Death Touch and Lifelink, and he has the power up ability. So for one colorless, not generic, one colorless and Wooburg, you can put two +1/+1 counters on Thanos and then choose odd or even destroy each other creature with mana value of the chosen quality. Pretty thematic. You need 6 Infinity Stones, and so you need the 5 colors of Magic plus colorless mana to activate the ability. And then he snaps his fingers and erases half the world. Like that's cool. Thematic, yes. Good, no. I don't know. I'm not blown away by this card. I think it's really cool, but for a mythic villain that is this omnipotent being with all the Infinity Stones, seems like paying 6 mana for a bad board wipe is just not it.
I mean, it makes sense, like you were saying, like thematically. It's worth it to say that it is reduced by Mardu if you do it the turn that he comes out. And like I said, just how that's his whole thing is he just snaps his fingers once, then he's done. Because Thanos gets the Infinity Stones, uses them, and then destroys them afterwards. At least in the Marvel cinematic arc. Yeah, it's a cool little ability. I think it's the interesting thing to me about this is we've seen 2 Infinity Stones so far, right? So we've seen the black one. Now we have the Mind Stone, the white one. So one of them's going to be colorless. It's not going to be generic. One of them is going to be colorless.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder which one that's going to be. I don't
Well,
know.
but granted, we kind of knew that, right? Like there were
I
six
I
Mind
mean, I
Stones. There were
guess
6 Mind Stones. We knew that there are not Mind Stones. We knew there were 6 Infinity Stones. So we knew that. Well, I mean, we guess we didn't know, but like we kind of did, right?
we knew, but we didn't really like think about it. You didn't say it out loud, but it's kind of, I think that's kind of interesting. I wonder what the colorless one's going to be. Someone, yeah, I feel like if someone plays this, it's more going to be like bracket 1 or 2. This
Yeah,
feels
well,
like a
like
bracket 1 commander, to be
Child of
honest.
Alara exists.
Yeah.
Like there are 5 color board wipe commanders that that are already well established in the format. I don't see why we need Thanos, but
Well, we needed Thanos. It's just a question of if
no,
we
but I
need to
know
play
we
him.
didn't need this.
Well, let's move on to the last one on the generic list. I'm excited about this one.
Oh, you're excited about this one specifically on the generic
Yeah,
list? Okay,
yeah.
you got it.
Okay. This is Speedball New Warrior. It's 2 and a hybrid is it? So 3 mana for a 2/2 legendary human hero. And it's notable this is an uncommon. Something about these uncommon commanders that really gets me going. It does it for me. Longshot was uncommon, just so you know. So whenever a player casts a spell that targets Speedball, he gets +2/+2 until end of turn, and you may choose new targets for that spell. So it's pretty crazy because it's whenever any player casts a spell. So if you're so what people are saying, and by people I mean Goblin Grounds. Goblin Grounds did a video on this. It's the unkillable commander. Obviously, it's susceptible to board wipes. The only thing that this can't get through really is the exile board wipes because you can give it indestructible. The only thing it's gonna really get it at that point is the exile board wipes. You can't really target this thing because then you're the controller, if that's you, can just choose to put that on a different creature, and he gets bigger. But it also allows you to play spells you might normally want to play against a different opponent, but you get benefits for playing it on your creature. So if it's like target creature can't block this turn and then something else happens, you give it the benefit by playing it. You give sorry, excuse me, give yourself the benefit by playing it on Speedball and then put it on a different creature, the actual targeted part of the spell. Stuff like that. I can't think of any. I didn't go through and get all the specific examples of all the weird little cards you can play, but they're all super cheap. They're all like 1 red mana. They're all super cheap.
Yeah, I want all the bounce spells and stuff.
Yeah, all that. It's a really, really sweet commander, I think. And is it kind of flavorful?
Yeah, this feels like it's gonna be a popper commander.
I would totally build this in Pauper. This like I've been saying that forever. I want to build a Pauper commander.
Popper?
Maybe this is the one. I said that.
Hardly
Pauper.
know her.
Oh. Do you have anything else about Speedball?
No, not really. I just like that it's very hard to remove, but it's hard to remove in an interesting way, which is pretty cool. And there's a kitty on the art. Meow. Look at him.
There's got to be a name for it. What's the name of the kitty?
Are you googling it?
Speedball kitty. Niels.
Oh.
Peacat, the penitent puss.
All right, moving on.
That's its name. That's its name. Oh, it's Hairball.
Hairball.
Its name is Niels and its
Oh,
alias is
Speedball and
Hairball.
Hairball.
Codename
Oh.
Peacat the penitent puss. That's its code name.
Oh.
Bro, that's so cool. The penitent
Oh.
puss. What does that mean? Penitent. Deep sorrow, remorse for wrongdoing. Remorseful, regretful. The regretful puss.
Okay.
It's flavorful. Okay.
Can we move on?
Well, that does it for like I guess the communal share pot. You want to take us through your first card?
Yeah, I'm really excited for this one. First on my list is Absorbing Man. 1 generic, a green and a blue for a 4/4 legendary human villain with vigilance. And at the beginning of your first main phase until your next turn, Absorbing Man becomes a copy of up to 1 target artifact, non-or enchantment, or land, except his name is Absorbing Man. He's a legendary 4/4 human villain creature in addition to his other types, and he has vigilance. This commander seems like an incredibly cool toolboxy one. And I think that this card is going to see a lot of play in mid-range, like Kinnan CEDH lists, just because 3 mana to clone anything, like, somebody has a Smothering Tithe. Well, your commander is now a Smothering Tithe until the next turn. And then you can keep it as a Smothering Tithe, or you can keep it as a Rhystic Study, or you could steal someone's Gaia's Cradle. I think this card specifically in those Kinnan lists lets you pivot really, really well. So if somebody has an early value engine, you can turn this creature into that value engine. And then later on, like if you want something different, like if you want to, shoot, you could turn this into a defense grid if you want to. Like you can, whatever you need later to push for a win, I think just being able to turn that into that at the beginning of your first main phase every turn, just get the best thing. And it's a 3 mana 4/4 with vigilance anyway. So you can still hit people with it, even if you're making it into like a 1 ring. So I think, I don't know. I think there's some really cool things that you can do with this commander, and especially even in the 99.
Yeah, the only thing I think that holds this back is the fact that the target has to be there still. So if you're copying somebody else's Rhystic Study, on the turn that you play it, but then next turn that Rhystic Study's gone, then it can't keep being that Ristic Study. It has to be some like a legal target at that point.
I don't think.
Yeah, it says until your next at the beginning of your first main phase until your next turn becomes a copy of one target thing. So if that Ristic Study is gone, you can't keep it.
I think if that Ristic Study gets shot, it's still. I mean, if it like obviously gets shot in response, then it would fizzle. But
No, but it changes every turn.
yeah, so then if the Ristic Study leaves and you have to hit the and you have to target it later, then yeah, it would be yeah. But if I play it, turn it into a Ristic Study, then the Ristic Study gets shot during my turn, I'll still have a Ristic Study until the
You'll
next
still
turn.
have a Ristic until your next turn. Then your next turn you can't get a Ristic Study again. That's just what I'm saying. It's not a
Yeah, but I
forever
mean,
Ristic
like,
Study.
if you want a Ristic Study, just play Ristic Study. I just think that
Yeah.
this having the ability to copy something, I think that the fact that you can change what it copies every turn is more of a down or more of an upside than a downside.
Yeah, for the most part, I would say so. In the case where you would want it to stay the same, but that thing's gone. That's the only time. But
Yeah.
still good. Still pretty good. I did like this card. Yeah, in the 99, I would say that was where this thing's gonna probably shine more. All right, I'm gonna go through my first card. We'll go with this one. My first card is a blue card. It's Ironheart Clever Champion. It's 4 and a blue for a 3/4 legendary artifact creature, human hero, with improvise. So your artifacts can help cast this spell. Each artifact you tap after you're done activating mana abilities pays for 1 generic. And it has flying and it gives all your non-creature spells improvise. So improvise isn't as good obviously as affinity, but it's still pretty good, I think. I don't think it's anything like crazy powerful, but I just wanted to put this on the list because I thought it was pretty cool. Giving all your non-creature spells improvise, so it's obviously blue, it's an artifact itself. So you could tap this to help pay for your other improvise stuff. Yeah, if you're just going wide playing a bunch of artifacts, like there you go. And it's only paying for colorless, but I think it's somewhat relevant. Like in any blue like artifact build, I think this is like gonna be an auto include. Maybe not as the commander, but
I really wanted this to be a Plagon card, dude. This card would be so cool, but the problem is like all the artifacts in Plagon already tap for mana for the most part, and our non-creature spells are typically really cheap, so they don't have a lot of colorless that we need to pay help paying for. But yeah, this is such a cool card. I'm excited to see this one.
I mean, I think the one thing that it really does is one kind of save your treasures. I know usually you want to use treasures for the any color,
Hmm.
but you can use it to kind of save your treasures, or you can use any of your other token artifacts, like your food tokens or anything else that doesn't inherently tap for mana, and now they help pay for your stuff, the colorless parts of your stuff. So yeah, it does a lot. I don't know how much play it's going to see. Probably not in CDH, but it's going to be very good, I think, in bracket 3 and decks like that.
I don't recall where she's from in the Marvel universe, but yo, she's bad,
Ironheart. Well, she has a TV show now.
bro.
Basically, she's like a genius, and she kind of takes after like Tony Stark.
Bro, her hips are like wider than her shoulders.
Yeah, but she's like a young Tony Stark kind of. She's a genius.
Jesus.
No, genius. Get it? Because you said Jesus,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
genius. All right. What do you got next?
All right, my next one is a token uncommon. um, this is also kind of showcasing a new enchantment type that we're getting in this set, plans. So this one is, I think, one of the stronger ones. There's one in each color, but this is rewrite history. 2 generic and a blue for an enchantment plan. Whenever one or more creatures you control become tapped, draw a card, then discard a card, and put a plan counter on this enchantment. When the 4th plan counter is put on this enchantment, sacrifice it. When you do, return up to 2 target instant and or sorcery cards from your graveyard to your hand. This card isn't going to see any crazy competitive play or anything. This card is not broken. It's just a decent value piece that filters at least 4 cards, and then gets you instant and sorceries back from your graveyard. You can get a little bit tricky if you tap creatures in response to its ability, the 4th plane counter triggering. So you can, I guess, draw and discard more if you want to. If you want to do, you can do tricky things like that. But I just think it's a good little engine. Really nice card in Spellslinger decks. I think it's going to play really nicely in limited. Has some recursion to get 2 things back for 3 mana, and filters 4 cards. And I think it's just a good showcase of the plan mechanic. So typically, they have a triggered ability that does something and puts a plan counter on it, and then whenever you have a certain number of plan counters on the enchantment, you sacrifice it, then do something else. That's what they all do. So I like it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed with all the plan cards. Like, I wanted to put some on the list, but I just decided not to because I just think it really sucks that you have to sacrifice it. Like, we've seen, what is it, like enchantments and stuff. Like, I think Search for Escanta is one of those where you do the thing, the trigger ability, and you put counter, and then you can flip it if
Mhm.
you want. So I think those are really sweet where you don't have to flip it if you don't. I might be wrong about Search for Escanta, but there are ones that you can choose not to flip it and still get all the benefit of the front side. So that's something I just don't like about these, that you have to lose it after a certain number. I'm sure that there's ways around it. You can like blink it or something like that. A lot of these, like, yeah, these triggered abilities are like super super powerful. It's just that's the drawback, is that you only get a certain number, but they are really good.
Well, when what I don't want to say this is dumb because like I get it, it's a plan, it's thematic for the set. I don't know why we needed a new enchantment type. I think that's kind of dumb because in I believe the original Zendikar set, there were expeditions. Like there was I know Colony Heart Expedition. I think there's Zektar Shrine Expedition. They were cheap enchantments that did the same thing. You got counters on them and then you sacrifice them after so many. I remember I played Colony Heart Expedition in Muldroth. Also, everybody, if you're listening, Colony Heart Expedition is a really, really, really cool landfall card that you should play, especially if you're playing budget. Um, you could have just called it something other than a plan counter, and you didn't have to call it a new enchantment type. I think that's a little. I don't know. I think it's an interesting design choice. I just don't really. I'm not really behind it. I don't like people are already upset that you're drifting away from the Magic universe. So like I feel like if you had to have to add new mechanics now and new enchantment types, like for an enchantment type or for I guess a breed of enchantment that already exists, seems odd to me. But I do like the card overall, and I think it's a good mechanic to see coming back.
Yeah, I don't know too much about these like artifact and enchantment subtypes. Like, new creature types make sense, but I don't have too much of an opinion, I guess, on those particular. But I don't know. It's still a cool concept, even
Mhm.
if it's reused. I don't know, or rewritten, history rewritten. Get it? Yo, thematic episode.
I hate this guy. If you want to be the other co-host to Swords of Podcasts, let me know. Hit me up.
Bro, I got W callbacks, W history rewrittens. I don't know. I'm done with it. Okay. Let me go to my card now. This is one of my two uncommons. I have two, wait, no, I have three uncommons on my list.
Holy
This is one of my
cow!
three. I know.
Technically four.
Yeah, okay. This is Wiccan Rising Magician. It's 4 in a blue for a 4/4 legendary mutant warlock hero with flying. And whenever you cast a non-creature spell, exile another target non-land, non-token permanent, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So this is, I know, Adam, what you're thinking. You're looking at this, you're like, why'd you put a bad blink spell on your list? But this is awesome because, bro, it hits other people's stuff. It's just whenever it's like Displacer Kitten kind of, but a little different because you're not just blinking, like pure blinking one of your things. You're exiling something till end step, but you can hit other people's stuff, cast non-creature spells, get rid of other people's stuff till end of turn. That's sick. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, like, if this card I don't know, there's a lot of like, it's like they'll print a card like the Serpent Society, and then they'll just hit every check mark. Like, they will hit everything on their list, and they won't add any drawbacks, they won't balance the card at all, but then they'll be like, "Okay, we need a new Displacer Kitten," and then they flip every single switch, every single balancing switch. "Yeah, let's make it cost more. Let's give it a nonsense keyword that they have to pay for. Let's make it go till end step." Like it's just let's get rid of the non-token permanent. That just this card could have been so good, but they hit the balance button. They slammed the balance button too many times. I really wanted this to be a Plagon card, dude. Like we were so close. We were so close.
I still think that even though they can, like you said, hit the balance button, it's still pretty good for what it is. You know who this is, like in universe.
No,
Bro, this is Scarlet Witch's son, one of her sons. She's two kids. One of them's a speedster, and then there's this guy,
not a Marvel
Wiccan.
guy.
He's pretty cool. He's in the show. He made it into the MCU. He's in the WandaVision show and Agatha All Along. Actually, okay, I don't want to spoil it, but he's in Agatha All Along, and it's crazy.
Agatha's Soul
Um,
Cauldron.
yeah, Agatha Harkness's Soul Cauldron.
Mm.
See, and who's to say that these universes beyond don't tie into magic? Okay, who's to say? Yeah, really cool card though. I like it. I don't know how much I'm gonna use it because I play higher power Blink stuff, as do you. Mine's slightly less, but still a little too high to be playing something like this. But still a really sweet card, and I'm with it. All right, what do you got next?
I have one. I think this could have made it on the list of the five that everybody's talking about, but I have Fin Fang Foom. It's two generic and two red for a legendary alien dragon villain. It's a 3/5 with flying. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets an artifact or land, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. Put 2+1/+1 counters on Fin Fang Foom. Yeah, so we got a new de facto mono red land destruction commander that has evasion and pumps himself every time you shoot a land. And I mean, I guess you could. I wonder if there's definitely tricky things you could do with like copy spells. Maybe I don't know how many of them copy artifacts, but maybe artifact creatures. You could, yeah, you could definitely do some tricky things with this as well. I have too many commanders. I would build this, but I have too many commanders that need built that are just in the backlog.
Hey, I mean, being in mono red, there's a how many? I feel like it might be hard to find stuff that cares about you copying stuff or just copying stuff that you play in general, so you can turn two into three or four, or however many. It's gonna be so hard to find that kind of stuff in red, right?
Yeah, I don't know how you'd ever do that.
And you know what they say, right?
Hmm.
They say that his limbs shatter mountains, his back scrapes the sun. That's just what I've heard, though. It's a really sweet card. His face looks weird, though.
Yeah, it's such a weird looking art. I never heard of half of these characters, so
Yeah, I will say I have no idea what this dude. I don't know where this guy
hey, at
comes
least we're not
from.
getting 16 different Spider-Mans.
Yeah, they kind of went crazy on that one. I do like I will say I was gonna say this earlier too. I knew I was gonna like this set, but they're really surprised me. There's some sweet cards. The art is beautiful, and I like that they didn't hold back. Like there's so many alternate arts, and they're really like they really went balls deep on the comic book art stuff.
Yeah, I
I don't
like
know,
that.
yeah, and it's so good, and it looks like it's gonna be really fun to play in limited, even with like all these like legendary creatures and stuff. It's gonna be special.
Mhm.
God, speaking of legend, dude, this is ridiculous. They're all legendary creatures. So my next one is a legendary creature. This is another uncommon. This is Captain America Living Legend. It's one and Azorius, so 3 mana for a 3/4 legendary human soldier hero with vigilance. And whenever a creature you control becomes tapped during your turn, if it's the first time that creatures become tapped this turn, untap it. So, yo, I think this is kind of super sweet. I've looked at there's a card which is in two of these colors plus one more. I forgot what it is, but it's like an untap tribal type of thing. I forgot exactly how you would classify that, but this is kind of sick. It's like if you're attacking, you untap them. If that's the first time they're being tapped. If you're convoking, you can untap them and then attack after. And those are the two big things, I guess, attacking and convoking. But there's other ways that stuff becomes tapped. Like if you're tapping it as a cost for something else, untap them. I think this is just kind of sweet. I don't really know exactly where you would use this or how you would build a deck, but I think that if you went and did build a deck around Captain America here, it would be kind of slick. People would be like, "Hmm, what are you doing?" And you do some really weird stuff just with like all this extra value because tapping creatures isn't always the best thing. 'Cause, you're using them for one thing and taking them out of something else. Whether that's attacking, then they can't block, or convoking, then they can't attack. Whatever sort of drawback you're getting from tapping it. But this is just saying, do it again. I don't think it's going to see a whole lot of play in the upper echelon of the brackets. Maybe that's what I was going for though. I was taking a bunch of cards that could be plague on, but not quite. Maybe that is my theme today. I really like this. I might mess around. I might mess around a little bit with Cap, with old Cap. It'd be cool if this was the one, like if they took like the screenshot from Avengers Endgame where he's like, "That's America's ass." If that was on this card, that would be super sweet, and I would 100% play it. We can move on. We can move on. I don't need to keep going.
So I actually picked a land from the new land cycle just because I wanted to talk about the new land cycle. So the one I picked was Gleaming Bastion because number one, it was the first one on the list, and number two, it's Azorius. So Gleaming Bastion is just a land with tap, add a colorless to your mana pool, and tap, add white or blue. Activate only if this land entered this turn or if you control a basic land. Everything about this land cycle, I love. Number one, adding the ability to tap for colorless on a land while being able to tap for colored mana. This lets you run Null Elemental Blast. This gives you access this helps you just a little bit more with playing some of those spells that require specifically colorless mana because there's a lot of good ones.
Thanos.
Yeah, Thanos. Number two, it obviously it taps for colored mana, enters untapped, and it's a reasonable condition. Like it comes down and taps for colored mana, and then you can figure out how to get a basic later if you really needed to tap for colored mana later. So I like that. And even if it can't tap for colored mana, you can still tap for colorless. Again, big fan. Next thing, all of the names in this land cycle are not Marvel specific. They were very careful, and it seems very deliberate that they made the names of these lands fit in every universe. So we will definitely be getting in universe reprints of these lands. Probably mostly going to see them in precons and stuff like that. But like I said, all the names of these lands specifically do not pertain to the Marvel universe. So Magic will be able to retain the rights, so we will get reprints of these cards in the future, I'm guessing.
I always kind of find it interesting when they print new land cycle, and I feel like most of the time everyone goes crazy like, "Oh my god, we got new lands. This is insane." And then they always suck. These ones are pretty good, I guess. Yeah, everything that you said, I think when I first read these, I didn't realize that they also tap for any color the turn that they're played, which I think is the biggest, like that's kind of the craziest thing about this. Like, having a basic land to turn it on, sure, that seems pretty standard, and that's great. It's definitely not as much of a drawback as we've seen in some other ones of the newer land cycles in previous sets this year, last year, however far back you want to go. But yeah, the fact that it can tap for any color when it comes out, and then for the rest of the game, as long as you get a basic out there, then you're set. This is
Hmm.
crazy, bro. Like these things are going to be worth some money. They're going to be played in every standard deck.
Yeah, well,
Like
I'm thinking
genuinely, they're going
that.
to be played in every standard deck.
Yeah, I would imagine because I think they're. I don't know if they're maybe not because they're. I don't know if they're not as good as the Verges because the Verges don't have to see basic lands, and these won't be played in CEDH because they require
No,
basic
the
lands.
Verges no, the Verges are. They tap for a color, and then they can tap for 2 colors if you have one of the 2 basics.
It's not a basic though. They just count the land type, so you can play them with shock lands and stuff.
My fault, gang. Close enough.
Yeah, but I mean these won't see any play in CEDH because can't tutor them. They care about basics, not
Yeah.
good. So I think these will be cheaper than Verges reasonably, just because I don't think they'll see as much 60 card play. But I could be wrong. I would like to see these get reprinted into the dirt and have another set of like Edakar waste type pain lands.
All right, let's go to my next card, dude. We have such a theme. We've really only talked mostly about like blue and white cards. I'm gonna keep it going. I got a white card. It's another uncommon though. It's Captain Marvel, Spaceborn, 4 and a white for a 4/4 legendary Kree soldier hero with flying and vigilance, and it has cosmic awareness. As long as an opponent has cast a spell this turn, you may cast spells as though they had flash. I don't know, dude. Something about this card that really does it for me. It gets my motor spinning. It's like it's white, so like as far as this being in the command zone, I don't know. I've tried building mono white and I didn't love it, but you could. Is that his feet? Does he wear No, he has shoes on. He has shoes on. Sorry. I thought I saw toes, but I think it's just the shape of his shoes. Anyway, he's really cool. I mean, it's just super sweet that it's like as soon as somebody plays something, you have flash. So if somebody tries to respond, like imagine this. You're playing your turn, you don't have, your immersion zone, you don't born upon a wind, whatever. I'm not trying to put this out there saying I think this is a CDH card, but I just think in general this is really cool. You don't have that. Somebody tries to play, interaction, then it turns all your stuff on at flash speed for the rest of your turn. Anything. So you can like bait somebody into playing something and then just win on top of them. Or, your opponent's turn, let's say that, all you need is the flash speed. They play one thing, boom, win on top of them. Or if it's not necessarily just winning on top of them, just, doing some value stuff on their turn. Bro, this card is insane. I'm a really big fan of this card.
Okay. I mean, well, 5 mana for this ability seems like a lot, especially if you're already in white. You want things to be as efficiently costed as possible. Here's where I see this card failing. Let's say, I mean, I guess this wouldn't, you know what, never mind, this wouldn't even happen early game. I was thinking, so like imagine, you want to do the Josh Lee Kwai thing where I'm going to play Chromatic Ori and pass the turn because I can play it instant speed. Like, imagine you do that and you think you're tough shit. And then you're like, well, I'll wait till the last person in turn rotation. They're like, wait a minute, if I don't cast any spells, you can't cast any spells, right? And then they just pass. So then you've spent a whole turn doing nothing. But like obviously, when you're casting this 5 mana thing, maybe you don't have stuff to do after that. But even if you do, like, it's probably turn 5. So it's very unlikely that someone else is gonna take their entire turn off just to make you take your turn off. So I feel like that isn't necessarily a big thing. Yeah, I mean it's interesting. Like I said, 5 mana seems like a lot for a harder to cast, easier to remove conditional chromatic orrery, but it's an uncommon though.
I don't know, dude. I can I be excited about something without you like, pulling the Josh Lee Kwai garbage? Respect to Josh Lee Kwai and stuff, but it's like I'm just saying, dude, I still think this is super interesting because bro, you just said the reason why it's interesting. Politics. What if you actually have nothing to do and you're baiting your opponents into not taking their turns thinking you're gonna do something? Bro, that's like
Are we,
playing on
dude?
another
That is
level.
such a tall glass of copium, bro. That is insane.
Saying that you're playing on a different level.
Oh yeah, by
It's
having
mind
nothing to
games.
do, dude.
It's Marvel games.
God.
Yeah. I like this card a lot.
No,
I
it's
I might
cool.
mess around with this guy.
I like it. I like it. Okay,
You realize that.
Mjolnir, Hammer of Thor. 3 generic and a red for a legendary artifact equipment. When Mjolnir enters, it deals 4 damage to up to 1 target creature. Double all damage equipped creature would deal, and equip worthy 1 generic. A creature is worthy if it's a legendary non-villain that's red and or white. 2 generic and a red, discard. It deals 2 damage to each creature. This card is like the most amazing Raghost card I have ever seen in my life. It's a damage doubler. It doesn't care about combat damage. It doesn't care about non-combat damage. It just doubles all damage. 4 mana and 1 to equip. 5 mana. That's like standard. That is right on par. And it's an equipment, so it's unless it gets blown up, it stays there and you can re-equip it for only 1 mana. Huge. When it enters, you're dealing 4 damage to up to 1 target creature. You could shoot a creature when this enters. So you're getting extra gravy. And it's a pyro deals 2 damage. Pyroclasm? It's a pyroclasm on a stick that's basically uncounterable.
What's on a hammer, not a stick, but nice try. Sorry, I didn't mean to steal your thunder. Keep going.
Forward all inquiries about becoming the other co-host of Swords to Podcast to swordstopodcast@gmail.com. If you'd like to replace Thomas, I will be kicking him off of this show. No, that was good. That, that
Bro,
was that was good. That was good.
that was good.
But yeah, no, I love this card, and it's an artifact, it's an equipment, so Ragos loves it even more. You can tutor for it easily. This actually does give me access to finally an equipment that doubles damage specifically for Ragos, so that I can use the artifact tutors that are in that deck to find this card. I need a copy of Mjolnir. I'm really hoping they come out with a pretty version of it too. But yeah, so I like the equip a bit, the equip worthy ability. So legendary, non-villain, red or white. Those are the stipulations. But you can give it to the lobster, and like I said, board wipe on a hammer. Yeah, this card just does so many things on an equipment that I want in Raghost. I'm really excited for this.
Oh, yeah, I got a couple things to say. So, first of all, do you know where this is from in universe?
Where it's from?
So Thor is actually the one who wields this thing. I don't know if you knew that. That's a joke. All right, so yeah, Mjolnir. This is a card that I was looking at too, and I think I already know the answer, but I wanted this to be because you've already said it like however many times about Plagon. I wanted this to be a long shot card, and I'm still like I'm most definitely not gonna try it, but maybe it's like it does have the removal there, and it can obviously equip onto long shot. It's 1 cheaper, so it's 4 total mana to get it onto long shot to make all my stuff go a little bit quicker. So if I have a ton of extra mana, could be could be something to think about, but I don't know. I think this kind of takes away from what I'm trying to do there. So I don't know if I'm actually going to try it, but that's one thing I was thinking about with this card in particular. Interesting card. One thing that I've heard people talk about it with this equip worthy ability is, you know how many like cards are apparently worthy of Thor's hammer? You got like what, Chucky, Jaws. Nobody
Yeah.
mentioned Jaws. That was the first one I thought. I was like, fuck it, Jaws is worthy of the of Mjolnir.
Yeah.
It's a really sweet card. I like all the extra utility. Like I feel like they didn't have to add the discard clause, and they didn't have to make it that powerful. Like I'm just trying to think flavorfully, like how that even makes sense. That you just discard the hammer and it deals 2 damage to each creature. I don't know. I don't like. I mean, maybe it as far as just like an ability perspective, it's balanced in the fact that it hits everybody. It's not one-sided.
Mhm.
But yeah, overall, I'm pretty impressed with this one. I'm gonna keep thinking about Longshot. I'm probably not gonna play it, but it's so close, so close. Maybe if it was a little bit cheaper, like I would take this card. Like imagine this, I would love this if it was cheaper, didn't have the discard, didn't have the 4 damage on ETB. Cheaper card, had the equip worthy, whatever, and just had the double damage. But God, I would love this thing. Maybe they were thinking they're like, Adam would love this in Raghost. We'll make it good enough for him, but like Thomas, nah.
No.
Nah. Longshot doesn't need any toys. It's okay though. I'll get over it. All right. I only have one more card left.
Yeah, that was my last card.
Here's the final card on the day. I'm kind of excited to talk about this one. And this is like a 2-for-1. So this is Jennifer Walters. It is 1 and a white. So 2 mana for a 2/3 legendary human advisor hero. It says your opponents can't cast spells during your turn. And it has that weird ability, which I feel like there should be a name. It's the one that we got in Spider-Man is the first one. So this is the front side is Jennifer Walters. You can pay 3, a green, and 2 white to transform her, activate only as a sorcery. And on the back side is the Sensational She-Hulk, which also has the same mana cost, 3, a green, and 2 white. So you can just play it for its backside as well. It's a 6/6 legendary gamma hero, which with reach trample also says your opponents can't cast spells during your turn. And whenever a creature you control is dealt damage, you may have the Sensational She-Hulk deal that much damage to any target. Do this only once each turn. So I am kind of not really paying any attention to the backside. That's like a terrible cost. It's so expensive for what it does. Before we move off of the backside, I think it's just ridiculous that it says only once each turn. Like, I understand that they had to kind of do that, or else it would be pretty broken. So, yeah, whenever a creature you control is dealt damage, she'll just deal that damage anywhere, whether that's a player or creature. But it's just limiting it to 1. It's like, this sucks, bro. For 6 mana, I don't know. I know it's a 6/6 reach and trample, and it still has that opponents can't cast spells ability, but not too worried about the backside. The front side is mostly what I think is only ever going to see play. We got another white, not rule of law. I mean, it's a white stacks piece. It's
Grand
comparable
Abolisher.
to comparable to Grand Abolisher, but it's not quite as good because it's easier to cast with only 1 white pip, but it doesn't turn off activated abilities. It just turns off casting spells. And for the most part, that's what you're going to want. I mean, in CDH, it doesn't stop like Kinnan activations, Thrasios activations, channel. But I think, dude, I think that this card is going to see play. I think it's really good. What do you think?
Right now, I'm looking to see if Sisay Weatherlight Captain plays Voice of Victory. So this card terrifies me, but it's a legendary creature that has a silence effect on it. And again, we're so close to having a Plagon card here. If it wasn't green,
I was thinking about that too, like a couple cards ago, and I'm like, yeah, I know that the last card on my list has green on it. Like, oh, that sucks for him. But yeah, this is pretty scary.
yeah, silence effect on a creature, good card.
Sounds effect on a legendary creature. Ugh. And yo, funny story, yo, there's a Marvel TV show for She-Hulk. It sucks.
I've seen bits of it. Yeah.
But yeah, that does it for our spoilers for this episode. Man, it's coming up on us. I like that they're not like doing spoilers super, super far in advance. They're kind of like putting it all together, and I feel like they have to with all these sets coming out.
Feels like they vomited it all in one day. Like I blink and suddenly there's 600 spoilers.
I mean, it was over a couple days, but yeah, there was a ton. It was hard to keep up with.
I couldn't.
But what we have going on, pre-release is next weekend. So next week we'll have our pre-release episode. Going to be exciting. Look out for that
On Thursday.
But these cards are cool. I'm really excited to play this set. Like, I'm really, really excited. I think it's going to play super well in limited.
Okay, episode over. Thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate you tuning into our episodes. Look out, like Thomas said, next week for the pre-release guide coming for this set. I don't know if I'll do a pre-release for this one, but I'll definitely look into what a strong deck will be and what cards you should look out for then. So we'll catch you on the next episode. Anything else, Thomas?
Throwing up 4s.
Throwing up 4s? All right.
I'll probably do a couple pre-releases.
That tracks.
I like doing them, but
Yeah.
no, that's it for me. Let's go Mountaineers.
Yeah, let's go Mountaineers.
Omaha bound. Knicks and 6. The Oklahoma City Knicks. And then that's all that I have.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.
See ya.